Hey everyone, Eric Andrist at the Henry Levy House. It's Friday, March 7th. It's about 4:17 p.m. in the afternoon. And this is episode 2 of POV with Eric Andrist. Today I thought I'd start off with just a little trivia because some of you probably don't know me that well or what happened, with how we came to Oxnard or anything. My partner of 38 years, Jeff Rizzo, and I moved here in 2021, and unfortunately he passed away in 2023. And I just wanted to kind of let everybody know who he was. Jeff was a musical director conductor, conducted Broadway musicals all across the country, and did several even around the world. He was actually in Japan during the earthquake conducting a musical when all that happened, and I couldn't find him for days. That was terrifying. Probably his biggest accomplishment was he was the conductor in New York City at Madison Square Garden of the big production of The Wizard of Oz starring Mickey Rooney and Eartha Kitt. This is the Broadway show poster from that. I'm trying to not get the glares on it. And he also he wrote musical arrangements and conducted the CD of the show. This is Mickey Rooney and Eartha Kitt. And then actually went on tour with it for many years with several different actresses playing the witch, including Joanne Worley from Laugh-In, for those of you old enough to remember Laugh-In in the 60s. I can't even remember now all the people that did it. Actually, Roseanne, that Roseanne, replaced Eartha Kitt, so he did it with Roseanne. Jeff also worked on Sunset Boulevard in Los Angeles with Glenn Close. And funny story, he actually was coaching Faye Dunaway to replace Glenn Close when the show actually closed and they decided to move it to New York early. But anyway, so I was really proud of his accomplishment. So I just wanted to kind of introduce you all to him. I'll put a little picture up here so you can see what he looked like. Today, I want to talk about the elephant in the room. And I guess it's really the elephant in Oxnard. And that, to me, is Manny Herrera. I've never even met Manny, but I've seen him at the city council meetings. And I've run into him when trying to participate in, what's the name of his group? Citizens for a Better Oxnard. Which, that title I find very ironic because it's his attitude and the way he comes off at these meetings seems like the complete opposite of anybody pushing for a better Oxnard. It's kind of like Trump and his MAGA campaign. And just at this last meeting, something came up. I always just kind of laugh him off because he's such a clown and such a joke. He wants to project that he's standing up for such a good, noble cause of making Oxnard great. But then he's so angry and he's so bitter and he's so quick to criticize so many people. And I've tried to join that Facebook group twice, and twice he's kicked me out. It seems to me that anytime somebody doesn't say the things that he wants them to say, or doesn't say it in the way he wants them to say it, or if he just simply doesn't like you, he can just kick you out of that group. Which is like, really, Manny? I mean, come on. That's not a better Oxnard. That's a little Manny kingdom. And that's just not how good people do things these days. Well, at any time, really. But it was funny because not this last city council meeting, but the meeting before, 2 weeks before that, he got up to do public comments, and you get 3 minutes to speak, and he gave his 3 minutes, and then the next person came up and said that he was going to relinquish his time to Manny so that Manny could continue to speak. And I thought, well, okay. Is that really in the rules? I mean, nobody seemed to say anything about it, but they let it happen. And, it was not a big deal to me, really. I'm going to keep that in mind for if I ever need to speak for longer. I'll get, 10 or 12 people to relinquish their minutes to me, and I'll just go on and on. But he did, and he took his 6 minutes, mostly, lambasting Aaron Starr and lambasting people that, don't agree with him, doing his commercials for Citizens for a Better Oxnard. And then this last meeting came around, and he wasn't there in person, but he called in this time and proceeded to take Phil Molina, the city treasurer, to task, because just prior to that, Aaron Starr had asked some questions about this case against Phil Molina. So Phil Molina got up and spoke about it, answered Aaron's questions, sat down, and then got up again to speak during the public comment section, which was totally within the rules. There's no reason that he can't do that. If the council asks questions of somebody and they get up and speak, that's totally fine. And then that person has the right to fill out a speaker card and speak again for 3 minutes. But of course, then Manny calls in and takes him to task for doing it and makes a big deal out of it, trying to, cement or, pound the nail in the coffin for poor Phil Molina. They've already stripped him. They've already humiliated him. So here's Manny coming along now and nailing the nail into the coffin. He has to have the last word. So he made fun of him speaking for 2 sessions. And I'm sitting here thinking, wait a minute, isn't that exactly what Manny did at the meeting before? So I'm going to show you, just so it's on the record now.
Hello, this is Manny Herrera, creator of Citizens for a Better Oxnard. Nobody seems to be learning their lessons. First of all, Gabe Turan brought up about the long meetings and how we need to have a time limit. And yet, look, here we go. Here we go again. Why is Phil Molina's attorney, Aaron Starr, allowed to continue to relitigate this dead horse? This has there was an investigation. The findings were already there by the preponderance of the evidence. I mean, everything was already a done deal. And yet at the last meeting, Aaron Starr, Phil Molina's attorney, spent 2-3 hours trying to relitigate this same thing over and over and over and over again. And now the council voted on it, so it came to today so that they could finalize it. And yet Starr, once again, is given the opportunity to just go on and fight. And then he brings his wife, he brings Parcello, and then the other guy. It's the same. It's always them. It's always the same people. If you notice, no one else is calling in. There's nobody else calling in, because everyone else is getting ready for a recall. That's why they're not calling in. But these guys, it's the same Starr clan that continues to call in and fight for Phil Molina's job. And actually not even his job. He's going to keep his job. They're just taking away his duties. And why? Because of the sexual harassment of his employees. Instead of Aaron Starr fighting for the rights of the employees, he's fighting for the rights of Phil Molina. I mean, give me a break. And he wonders why people want to recall him. My God. I mean, it doesn't take a scientist to figure all this out. And then the little clown show they have going where, why is Molina allowed to speak twice? Well, I mean, again, it doesn't take a rocket science to figure out that what they do is Aaron Starr calls Molina up, lets him speak that way. Then Molina puts in a card to speak for 3 more minutes. You know, I mean, it's all a game, and you guys are just falling in. I don't see anybody on the dais speaking up against this. You cannot continue to allow this to happen. This is pathetic. So, anyways, this needs to stop. This, Mr. Mayor, I don't know if you're the one that needs to do something about this, but
Thanks, Mr.
Aaron
Herrera.
Starr needs.
Your time is up.
Okay, so just to recap, this was the meeting of March 4th, and Manny Herrera calls in, and he's got a beef because Phil Molina was allowed to speak twice. So stay tuned.
Luis Huereca, you're up next. Yeah.
Mayor, Council, if I can yield my time over to Manuel Herrera, please.
Mr. Herrera, go ahead.
Okay. So I get 6 minutes, right?
One for you. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm Manny Herrera, Citizens for Better Oxnard. First of all, Aaron Starr, please accept my condolences. As usual, I'm going to say what most people are afraid to say. As many of you know, I have been a huge supporter of our staff and will continue to be that. However, I feel that at any point, if staff has dropped the ball, then I'm obligated to speak up. In this case, my issue is with the staff report. Having been a board member with the nonprofit and therefore knowing what I know.
Okay, I'm actually going to pause here because in Manny's 6 minutes, I actually agree with everything he had to say. So I'm going to cut to the end just to show that he actually did take up 6 minutes.
So I thank you for your time, especially for the extended time. And staff, I still love you and I still respect you.
Let's hear that one more time from Manny.
So I thank you for your time, especially for the extended time. So I thank you for your time, especially for the extended time.
And then if we go back to the meeting 2 weeks ago, what was it you were complaining about?
Why is Molina allowed to speak twice? Well, what they do is Aaron Starr calls Molina up, lets him speak that way. Then Molina puts in a card to speak for 3 more minutes.
Manny, you are busted. You can't have it one way and then call people out for doing the same thing. Let's talk for a minute about this Citizens for a Better Oxnard group. I mean, considering this kind of attitude that he has, where, you know, he's above everybody else and he can just do anything he wants and then criticize people for doing the same thing, how is that for a better Oxnard? How is inciting this kind of agitation at the city council meetings and online and kicking people out of the group, how is that a better Oxnard? Let's take a look at his rules that appear on the Facebook page. Let's just take these one by one. Number 1, be respectful, kind, and courteous. We're all in this together to create a welcoming environment. Let's treat everyone with respect. Healthy debates are natural, but kindness is required. Now, this is from Manny Herrera, who kicks people out of this group almost every day, I guess. I can't tell you how many people have talked about this on the Nextdoor website, about how they have been kicked out of Manny's group. As I said earlier, I've been kicked out of it at least twice. And I don't even know why. If you try to find out why, they don't say anything. If he doesn't like you, if he doesn't like what you're saying, if you say something that isn't his, way of thinking, then he just kicks you out. It's his group. He's a king. It's a kingdom there. Number 2, no hate speech or bullying. Well, I think that kicking people out of a group is bullying. I mean, come on. If you're going to create a group about Oxnard, you have to let all the Oxnardians in. You have to let everybody play. You can't be, an elite club, Manny. Number 3, no advertising or promotional post allowed. Well, I find that hysterical, since he always shows up at the city council meetings advertising for Citizens for a Better Oxnard. Number 4, no profanity or rude remarks. Yeah, okay, whatever. I think he's often rude. Number 5, post must be Oxnard related, no national politics. Okay. 6, duplicate post. Duplicate post will be removed. I don't know. Number 7, respect everyone's privacy. Okay. 8, no religious posts. Yeah, okay. 9, argumentative or irrelevant posts or comments. Now, who gets to decide what's irrelevant? Well, Manny, of course. Or a Manny Minion. Manny Minions also kind of just toe his line, and he's like the rock star of the group, and everybody just kind of tags along and follows him. It's a very follow the crowd kind of group. They even show up at the meetings and support him and applaud him when he says something wise and wonderful. And number 10 is no venting or complaining. Yeah, no. Just kick him out. No venting or complaining. Just kick him out. That's the rules. So then I'm also going to post here a post that he just put up in the group recently. And we'll go through that. I'm going to pause here and then I'll come back in. So as you may or may not know, Manny Herrera is on a vendetta to get Aaron Starr recalled from the city council. And he goes to these meetings and he makes it sound like there's this huge following of people that are starting to want to get Aaron Starr recalled. I don't believe it for a moment. The majority of the people in the last election that voted Aaron Starr into office. People are thrilled that he's, speaking up at the council meetings and holding the fire to the city's toes and asking all kinds of questions. So Manny is inflating it now to make it sound like he's got this huge following of people that want to recall Aaron Starr, which it just simply isn't true. And I encourage you to really do some research before you just listen to Manny talk about recalling the councilman. So he posted this on, I guess, March 5th. And I'll just read it out loud here. It says, more reasons for a recall. Once again, Councilman Aaron Starr gave us another reason to add to the list of why he's a perfect candidate for a recall. He has continued to use his position as an elected official to protect and speak up for his friends. In this case, I am referring to Treasurer Phil Molina. At the last council meeting 2 weeks ago, Starr spent 3 hours of everyone's time to act as if he was Molina's attorney by trying to get the council to allow him to continue supervising the same employees who filed sexual harassment claims against Molina. Okay, well, there's a lot of things wrong with this. Number one, it's the councilman's responsibility, in fact, more of the council members should have done it, to question what's going on and why are they voting on it. Too many of them just accepted this one report and voted willy-nilly on it. The people that he's talking about in this, these employees, apparently 41 employees were interviewed in this report that was against Phil Molina. Only 2 came forward to file any kind of sexual harassment charges. And I'm speaking out of turn. I don't know all the exact facts. This is what I've been told. I think they were sexual harassment charges. And I'm also told that neither of those 2 employees reported it to HR at the time. So if they didn't even bother reporting it to HR, was it even a big deal in the first place? So why is the city council making it a big deal now? So much so that they're stripping our city treasurer of his duties as the treasurer. But see, Manny wants you to think that it was all of his employees. It was everyone under Phil Molina that filed sexual harassment charges because of the way he words it. He says here, continue supervising the same employees who filed sexual harassment claims against Molina. It was not all the employees. It was 2 employees. And was it viable? Did they research it and find out maybe those 2 employees had a grudge against Phil Molina for some other reason? Because, he punished them for being late to work one day or something. Who knows? I mean, true. It could be that maybe there was something. I don't know. I wasn't there. If there was, HR could have handled it. Why the city manager and the city attorney got involved sounds like a vendetta to me. Because it's just an HR problem. All right, moving on. As stated many times, an independent investigation found that the allegations against Molina were proven to be true by the preponderance of the evidence. The employee union even sent a letter to the council asking that they not allow Molina to continue supervising these employees. I don't know. That may be true or not true. I don't know. Knowing this, Starr still fought vigorously to defend his buddy. As well he should. Nothing wrong with that. Never did Starr show any empathy towards the employees, but instead claimed that it was Molina who was being mistreated. Well, so why should he show empathy towards the employees if he doesn't believe them? That doesn't make any sense. You're not showing any empathy anytime you come to the meetings, Manny. Aaron Starr was elected to represent the people of Oxnard, not to use his authority to fight for his friends. It just so happens that it is a friend, I'm assuming, but he would do the same to anybody who was in the same position. I don't think he's doing it at all because Phil Molina is a friend. He's doing it because it's the right thing for a councilman to do, to figure out what the facts are before they vote. The vote 2 weeks ago was 6-1 in favor of transferring certain duties to the assistant city treasurer. Obviously, Starr was the only one to vote against it. Fast forward to last night's meeting, Tuesday, March 4th, 2025. This same item was brought to the council to adopt this as a new ordinance. Since it had already been debated for 3 hours at the last meeting, all it should have taken was a few minutes to vote in. Why? Why is that all it should have taken? Because Manny is bored by the process and just wants to throw Phil Molina to the lion's den? That's why it should have been through? What if more evidence was found? What if they had discovered something more that needed to be talked about? I lost my place here, sorry. But instead, Starr wanted the item pulled in order to re-debate it. And once again, he called Molina to the podium and tried to make a case as to why Molina should have all of his duties reinstated, as well he should. This is a very important topic. You're stripping the duties from the city treasurer that the people elected to the position. Absolutely. Do everything possible to find out if this is what needs to be done and take as much time as it takes to make sure it's done properly. Do not rush it through. Absolutely. He did it. That's absolutely 100%. Aaron Starr did the right thing. Starr had his wife, Alicia, whom Molina wanted to appoint as his assistant. Again, what's wrong with that? And 2 other Starr clan members to speak in favor of Molina. Do you have evidence of this, Manny? Do you have evidence that Aaron Starr actually did that? Or are you speculating? Because that could be considered slander. Fortunately, this circus act didn't work, and the vote was once again 6-1. For Starr to use his authority to try and rescue his friend from sexual harassment claims is absolutely outrageous and is in itself reason enough to recall both Starr and Molina. First of all, unless you were there, Manny, you don't know if there was sexual harassment. Were you there? All you're doing is believing 2 people who, remember, didn't even think it was bad enough to report it to HR. So why are you choosing to believe that there was sexual harassment? Because of the city manager and the city treasurer's vendetta to get Phil Molina out, and you just want to kiss their ass? Sounds like that's what it is to me. You know, you're so in love with the staff. Oh, God, now I'm getting upset. For Starr to use his authority to try to rescue his friend from sexual harassment claims is absolutely outrageous and is in itself reason enough to recall both Starr and Molina. Well, it's ridiculous of you to do the opposite when you weren't even there, Manny. You have no idea what went on. You're speculating at best. We should be outraged enough to put an end to this. Oh, you're such a drama queen. Come on. If this is any indication of how Starr is going to govern for the next 4 years, then we need to nip this in the bud. Okay, remember, the reason I'm reading this is part of Citizens for a Better Oxnard group on Facebook. Remember the rules we went through? Be respectful, kind, and courteous is the number 1 rule. What about this is respectful, kind, or courteous? if I had gone in there and written this about, let's say, the city manager, Alex Nguyen, one of Manny's buddy friends that he likes to support, he would have instantly kicked me out of the group. But because it's his group, and because he wants to say it, he can just disregard rule number 1. No hate speech or bullying is number 2. This is hate speech and bullying. No profanity or rude remarks. The whole thing is rude. The entire thing is rude. Respect everyone's privacy. Yeah, talking about a city employee having sexual assault charges against employees, let's respect his privacy. No, you come in there and you just broadcast it, Manny. Argumentative or irrelevant posts or comments. Yeah, it's not relevant to how to make Oxnard better. It's just not. It won't make Oxnard better. It's a tiny little office in the city hall. It has nothing to do with Oxnard as a greater city. And that, like I said, it should have gone to the HR department, but because of the city manager's vendetta, it's now been made a big deal. And most importantly, rule number 10, no venting or complaining. If you post a complaint just for the sake of complaining or venting but offer no solutions, it will be removed. Well, it's not going to be removed because it's Manny's post. Again, if somebody else had written it, he'd kick him out if it was about one of his friends. But because he wrote it and it's his group, he can do and say anything he wants. Well, Manny, people are starting to understand who you are, and now they're calling you out at the city council meetings too. So you better be careful. See you, everyone, until the next episode.